Hi everyone. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how you can make your kids smarter. Coming up. Hi everyone. This is Dr. Ernesto from AttaBoyCowBoy, and on this channel we give you health and wealth tips to help you be more successful. Now in today's video, I'm going to talk about how you can make your kids smarter. Now the world is becoming more and more competitive, and I get a lot of questions from highly competitive parents who are very successful. They're doctors or lawyers or scientists. They have a lot of money and they invest a lot of money in their children. They'll bring their kids to come see me and they'll ask me, hey, how can I make my kids smarter? How can I make them as intelligent as possible? I said, that's a good question. So how would you make a plant grow faster and stronger? Well, you're going to give it lots of water, lots of sun, and you're going to give it vitamins and minerals and fertilizers and everything else it might need. Well, you're going to do the same thing with kids. I'm going to give you 2 tips for making your kids smarter. These are really simple. Tip number 1. Breastfeed. If you have a baby or you're about to have a baby, make sure you're breastfeeding your children. There is a lot of research and there is a correlation between IQ and breastfeeding. The more you breastfeed, the higher the child's IQ will be up to 1 year of age. After 1 year, it starts to kind of level off. It doesn't really have as much of an effect on their IQ. But if you breastfeed your kids less than 1 year, there is science and research that's going to show that their IQ is going to be lower. And that's lifelong, not just for a few months. It's for the rest of their life. Now you wonder, why is that? How could breastfeeding have such a profound effect on a child's brain and their intelligence? Well, think about whales. If you ever look at a whale, they're mostly fat. They have a lot of fat in their body. They need fat because the water's cold and they need to try to keep themselves warm. A baby calf drinks gallons and gallons and gallons of milk, and they literally gain pounds per day. They need to grow up fast before the killer whales come and all these other predators come, great white sharks, and eat the babies. The way they're able to do that is the mother whale pumps a lot of fat into that breast milk, and that helps that baby develop quickly. Now remember, fat is all energy. It's energy. It's the most efficient energy source humans have. That's why when you eat a lot, you start to store it in your stomach and everywhere else. We don't like that, but it basically has a biological purpose. It's for survival. Remember the saying, survival of the fittest? That's why in the old days, the kings and queens used to try to get as fat as they could, because you're more likely to survive whenever there's famines or droughts or anything like that. Human babies are the same. Their brain is growing quickly and they need a lot of fat. Remember, muscles use protein. Brains use fat. They don't use protein to grow. They need fat. So a woman's breast milk has a very high fat content. That's exactly what that baby needs to grow that brain quickly and develop it properly. When you start weaning your baby off and giving them formula, have you ever looked at the ingredients of formula? It's made out of corn. It's made out of rice. It's made out of things that are not good. A lot of it is genetically modified, genetically engineered. It's not good stuff. And you're basically pumping this artificial stuff into your baby's brain. Not a good deal. In fact, there's a famous story about Nestle. They were selling their breast milk in South America, in the Andes. And the Indians were buying it. They were going to the people, they were telling them, wow, this stuff is great. It's going to make your baby awesome. It's going to make them smart. It's going to make them tall. It's going to make them healthy. So the Indians started buying all this formula and feed it to their babies. And what happened is, when you don't breastfeed, your breast milk starts to dry up and you're not able to breastfeed anymore. The women started losing their breast milk. The Indians could not afford to buy more and more of this baby formula. So what did they do? They started diluting it with water, and they were diluting it more and more and more, and they were basically feeding the babies water. Well, water is not the same thing as fat. So these babies started having a lot of problems, a lot of health problems. They started getting sick, and a lot of them started starving to death and dying from illnesses. It was a really tragic event, and it just goes to show you how far some of these multinational companies will go for profit. They're not looking out for your best interests. They're looking out for their shareholders. So don't have faith in a lot of these products. Have faith in nature. Nature is the reason why we're here. So if you have a baby, breastfeed them. Do it the old-fashioned way. Don't buy formula for them. You're gonna cut their intelligence for the rest of their life. Now, after a year, if you want to wean them off and start giving them a little formula for a while, that's cool. And then you can start getting them on the solid foods as soon as possible, or pureed, or whatever the case might be. But try to avoid that stuff. I recommend parents just keep it natural. Breast milk and then food, whatever you can do that's natural. Avoid all those chemicals, because you don't know what the long-term effects could be on your baby. Now, the second rule is developing the vestibular system. Now, I talked about the vestibular system in another video, and the vestibular system is really important for all types of people, all ages. It's very important. It's basically the base of your brain. It's the foundation of intelligence for babies and for humans. When you have a baby, the first thing they do is they crawl, and then they roll, and then they walk, and then they run, and they do all these different developmental milestones. And basically what they're doing is they're developing their balance and their vestibular system. Your vestibular system is tied into your hearing and to your processing of information. All those things work hand in hand. So the way you can help your baby develop faster is by stimulating the vestibular system. If you ever watch kids, they're always running around, they're jumping on beds, they're going on merry-go-rounds, they're going on swings. One of the reasons why they like that is because it's satiating. Satiating is like relaxing. It makes you feel like, Think about when you get a massage. It's calming. The same effect happens on children because their brain is developing and it's hungry. It's not hungry for food, it's hungry for stimulation. And that's why kids are so active. They're jumping around. Their neurological system is needing it. It's asking for it. It's thriving. It's asking, hey, give me some environmental information. Stimulate me. So that's why they start jumping and rolling and swinging and everything else. Well, how can you facilitate that process? Well, if you have a baby, sit in a rocking chair every day. If you're pregnant, do it while you're pregnant. Rock in a rocking chair as much as you can every day. It's really good for the baby's brain. You can help them develop their vestibular system faster while they're in the womb. Once the baby is born, same thing. If you think about the toys and the things they have for babies, they use a lot of rockers. There's a lot of swings and things like that. Same reason. It's satiating. It helps calm the brain, calm the neurological system, helps that baby relax. It can sleep. So give them more of it. Provide opportunities for your children to stimulate that part of their brain. Trampolines, swings, merry-go-rounds, going to parks, hiking trails, swimming, things where you're active and you're moving are going to stimulate your vestibular system, which is going to help stimulate your brain and make you smarter. If you have children and you have them locked in the house all day playing video games or watching TV, that is the absolute worst thing you do for brain and physical development. You're basically slowing down their development intellectually and physically, and those are going to have lifelong consequences. So a lot of times when I see kids, parents are bringing them in, they're saying, hey, why is my kid so overweight? Why are they, having all these problems in school? Why are they having socialization problems? Why are they having a whole list of problems? Why are they not paying attention in class? All these things are linked to diet and inactivity. So if you want your children to be successful, make sure you're feeding them natural food. Don't feed them stuff that's processed, And make sure you're giving them opportunities to be physical and to be active and to socialize with other kids. Team sports are vital to success of children and for lifelong success. Think about wherever you work or you go to school or you study or whatever. You're going to have to work with people. You have to learn how to get along with people. Now think about when you played basketball or you played football and you're the quarterback and you have to coordinate with your offensive linemen or your running back, your wide receivers. You have to work together as a team to win those sports. If you don't, you all lose. You can be the best player, but if you're not good at communicating with your team and working with them, you're not going to win any championships. You have to be an effective team player. And those things are developed by working with others in mundane, everyday things like going to work, playing basketball, playing football, you name it. So if you have any questions, please comment below and I'm happy to answer your questions. From the East Los Angeles Skills Center, this is AttaBoyCowBoy. Thank you for listening.